Everybody, this is Diane. Welcome back to Biters.
And this is Marnell. And don't pick at it. You're making it worse. It was like my second favorite
what
line
was your
of the
first
movie.
favorite
And
line?
no, we're not reviewing Dr. Pimple Popper. When Nora was holding the gun to Julie's father's head, and he's like, "You're not going to shoot me," and she's like, "Yeah, I totally will." Yeah. Because that is absolutely something I would say. People would be like, "You're not going to shoot me." I'm like, why do people keep saying that? And then I shoot them.
Well, go ahead.
It was in a movie recently where somebody did, I think it was, it was one of those teen lit movies, like Twilight or something, but it was the other one where, "You're not going to shoot me." Why do people keep saying that? And she shoots him.
So to catch everybody up, we're going to talk about Warm Bodies this week.
Yes, I did not torture Diane too badly with my choice of movies to review.
Two things. We still haven't reviewed the zombie Nazi movie, and now I can't remember the name of it.
I totally the zombie Nazi
it.
movie. I don't think was it zombies or was it werewolves?
Well, it was kind of undead super soldiers that were basically zombies.
Yeah.
It was kind of Inglourious Bastards meets The Walking Dead.
So it's funny, the Planet Terror Death Proof Grindhouse movie that Quentin Tarantino, and I think maybe Robert Rodriguez was involved also. They have fake trailers in the middle of the two movies, and one of them was Nazi werewolf women of the SS. Oh, and Sherry Moon Zombie, Rob Zombie's wife, was in it, and I mean, it's just they almost made a movie out of it because it was so funny. I mean, that's how Machete became a movie.
It looks like a great movie that doesn't exist.
Yeah, but it's like one of those that's like so bad it's awesome.
Well, so before we get too far, what have you been up to in the break? Yeah?
A lot.
Can you talk about any of it?
The Mandalorian. I binged Witcher. I went and saw the Star Wars movie. And I also have a zombie-related show recommendation that I hope gets a second season.
Very cool.
Yes. So it's called Daybreak, and it is post-apocalyptic Ferris Bueller. He breaks the fourth wall all of the time, and if you like Warm Bodies and you like Ferris Bueller and you like movies like This Is the End with James Franco and all his buddies from Pineapple Express, you would like Daybreak on Netflix. It is a super funny post-apocalyptic zombie teen horror comedy.
I'll have to put it on the list because I'm kind of having a tough time.
So there's only 8 episodes and they're only 45 minutes, so you can totally binge it in a week. I can do it in a day, but that's because I don't really have a life.
So kind of late to the party. Yeah. Our sister said she just binged the first season of Surviving R. Kelly, and she's like, I would get on a plane and fly to kill that guy.
Call your dad,
No
you're
kidding.
in a cult. Oh my God. She needs to watch the Scientology one.
With Leah Remini?
Leah Remini.
I've never watched it, but I've read a ton of Scientology stuff and watched some Scientology stuff, and it's freaky deaky. Hail Xenu.
Yeah, like Going Clear. Yeah. All hail Xenu.
So I just want to warn everybody, the dogs are going to be jerks because hubby is picking up the car from the detailer. So I'm sure that when he drives up, everybody is going to lose their minds, and I'm going to be lazy and not edit. So you'll get the full Monty.
Diane might lose it too because apparently her car was filthy. It is now a before and after picture on Facebook.
But thank God not many of my friends are people who have subscribed to Danny's auto detailing yet. So,
plug for Danny's auto detailing in Willow, Alaska.
Another thing is that we got an invitation to guest on a superhero movie podcast from Milan, Italy.
Oh my goodness!
Like, Nick, I can't even begin to imagine the time difference between Milan and Alaska. And he was like, "Nah, I work with time differences all the time, no problem." So I'll have to forward the email that he sent to me talking about the movies that he wants to review. And he said that we would be our first Alaskan co-host if we decided to come on.
Oh, that would be amazing. So it is a 10-hour time difference, and it is tomorrow.
Very good. So he can tell us all about the things that are going better on the planet than they are right now.
Or right. If it's ending.
Well, what else have you been doing?
Freezing. It is like we're reviewing warm bodies, and neither of us are a very warm body right now.
So it's been like above zero, which is amazing. We're having a heat wave.
It's like 17 here, and I had to laugh because I went to go get something out of our drinks fridge in our garage. And our garage, we're in a duplex, and our garages are where we're attached. So one of the garage walls is the other garage wall, so it's not an outside wall. And our doggy doors go into the garage, so I guess you would call it semi-heated. And I reached into the refrigerator, and it was warmer than the garage.
Well,
but who keeps their garage at 17 degrees, or who keeps their refrigerator at 17 degrees?
It's been pretty consistently like 20 to 30 below here, so I'm happy to have it above zero.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, why do I live someplace that hurts my face? There's a very popular meme that says that. And, honestly, it's because we don't really have poisonous spiders or snakes or anything like that. It's that legitimately. And I'm a cold weather person. I would prefer to be cold because I can always put more clothes on, but you don't want to see me taking too many of them off. So...
Well, so since last week's podcast, I have started beading again, and I'm making some really cool beaded jewelry. And that reminds me of another thing. So, friend of the pod, Thomas O'Mara, told me about, God, now I hope I can find her jewelry site.
Oh, you bought earrings from somebody from their Etsy store. Yes, they were adorable.
Young Sansbury. And I have to... Ravenwood Manor is her jewelry shop. She makes the best jewelry and stuff from like really nice kind of arty gemstone earrings that you would wear on any given day to she's got some earrings that have Lucille the Bat on them. So really cool stuff.
Yeah, I went to her Etsy store and I was like, oh, I could burn through a lot of money.
So highly recommend that people check out Anastasia's stuff at Ravenwood Manor, and it's RAYVENWOODMANOR, Ravenwood Manor.
She's kind of Biter's
she's
fam,
Walking
isn't
Dead
she?
fam. Thomas met her at a Walking Dead convention down, I think, in Florida.
Man, those things are all over.
More. I think Walker Stalker Con is tits up, man.
Did we dodge a bullet or what? Score one for my procrastination.
Let's see, what else have I been doing? I am trying to conquer spinning yarn. I'm spinning 10 minutes a day. I should be spinning on a bike 10 minutes a day. Instead, I'm spinning on a yarn wheel 10 minutes a day. Yeah. If you were depending on my knitting, you would go clothed in the zombie apocalypse. If you were depending on my spinning, you would be in sad shape and you would be well served to raid a Kmart.
Okay, so your yarn, I've been watching the progressive pictures of the spinning. It's starting to look like yarn you would buy in a store. It's starting to look really consistent.
So here's the deal. There's this thing in yarn called the twist, which is like how much tension there is twisted up in the yarn. I still have tons of twist, so it's like impossible to work with. So,
man, just too much time. I'd get a midget named Rumpelstiltskin to spin for me.
Well, I understand that learning to ply, which is my next step, takes a lot of the twist out. So, yeah, I'll let you know as if people are interested, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been crafting like a mad woman. So,
yeah, I know. Just there's not too much. It's so cold.
And I saw an ad for the new Harley
it's not
Quinn
even that
movie. I didn't realize that they were doing a movie totally dedicated to Harley Quinn. Yes,
Birds of Prey. Oh, yes, it does. It looks awesome.
And we went and saw.
I love that she has a pet hyena.
The Star Wars movie, and it was good. It's really good. Glad I saw it on a big screen. I'm not sure that I would have been totally attentive had I watched it on a small screen.
Yeah, ditto. I didn't watch the Solo movie. I haven't seen anything Clone Wars to when they introduced Kylo Ren and Kylo Ren and Rey. So I watched. Was it? The Force Awakens?
Yeah, that was the first one that was kind of...
and then
it was basically like the
Skywalker.
Retelling of the first of the original trilogy, just with the new characters.
Yeah. Yeah. I really lost interest with the newer ones.
You were talking about the ones that had Anakin as a kid. Yeah, they kind of ruined it for everybody.
Yeah.
Now these new movies, much better. Much, much better.
Yeah, and, honestly, I think it's because it sort of speaks to you and I because it has a heroine instead of a hero. And plus Adam Driver is really
he was
hot.
in a movie called The Report on on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free. It was really good. Very political, but really good.
Yeah, the only thing I knew him from was Girls.
Which I've never watched.
But I've never watched either, but I would see stuff on social media, and that I was like, oh, they cast the guy from Girls in
funny.
Star Wars, yeah. So I didn't know him for much before that.
There was something else I was going to mention, and now I'll be darned if I can remember what it was.
That's okay.
We're kind of freewheeling. Sorry, guys, but we are. Yeah.
We are. I started off in the podcast before. I run a laptop and a desktop when we podcast, and I was trying so hard to type something into a search engine, and I realized I was using the keyboard of the laptop and not the keyboard on the computer.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from tonight. Yeah, by the way, you seriously need to watch Fleabag.
I know I do. There's just so much I need to watch. There's so much I need to watch.
Award-winning. So, Daybreak and Fleabag.
Huh.
Gosh, there was another movie I just watched, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, the second Jumanji movie.
Oh, how was it?
I loved it. So I loved, and I want to say the first one, but it's technically the second one. I didn't like the one with Robin Williams, and I know that's
sacrilege. Yeah.
So I think it's because the newer ones spoke to me more as, someone who grew up with video game consoles. Even though I still played board games, I don't know. The Robin Williams one, maybe I need to go rewatch it because I haven't seen it since shortly after it came out. So I don't know. Maybe I'll find something different in it now that I have a newer appreciation.
Yeah, because that is pretty much sacrilege.
They are so funny now, though.
You know, it's been so long since I watched the first one, and I haven't watched the new ones that I'm kind of useless.
And I have no life. I don't bead. I don't knit. I pretty much just make bone broth in the Instapot for my finicky dog, so he'll take his medication, and watch movies and TV. And freeze.
All right, so Warm Bodies. How'd you rate it?
Okay, so my rating would be higher, except that I think it was a little long. So I gave it 4.4 zombie fingers.
Go ahead.
It's a reference to the end of the movie when he's trying to open the umbrella. And he's like, sorry, zombie fingers.
So I gave it a 4 Romeo and Juliet knockoffs out of 5. And I realized last night when I sat down to watch it that we actually own it on Amazon Prime. So at some point I must have liked it better than I did last night.
Well, it's zombie related. You probably bought it because it's zombie related.
And I just wasn't paying great attention last night. I will be completely honest. It was kind of background, and it was pleasant background, and I was doing other things.
And I think they could have condensed it down. I felt like it kind of dragged in the middle. It was a little drawn out, and I know zombies are supposed to be shambling and slow, and that was kind of the pace of the movie, and they had a whole lot of story to tell. But I really enjoyed the beginning. The middle kind of lagged, and we will talk about the ending.
Oh my God. So I just remembered something else that I haven't talked about because we haven't podcasted since I watched it. The documentary Country Music by Ken Burns. Oh my God.
I feel like you've told me about this before, but I'm not into country music.
I'm generally not either, but it is really the roots of country music from like 1935 all the way to current. It is phenomenal. I mean, I have a whole new appreciation for Hank Williams Sr., Johnny Cash, the Carter family.
Okay, that's
yeah. No, it's freaking amazing. If you have any interest in the origin of American music, watch this documentary. You have to buy it on Amazon. It's totally worth it.
That might be one I'm interested in because I do like, I'm going to call it classic country music because they call what I listened to growing up classic rock now. So classic country music.
And sorry, all over the map again, but Nick from Italy, his podcast is called Happiness in Darkness. So if anybody is interested in movie reviews about superheroes, highly recommend taking a look at that. I know I'm going to. Oh, and we watched Joker last night, finally.
Ooh, what did you think? I have not seen it.
So if you are expecting a DC movie, you're not going to get it. If you are expecting social commentary, it's a great movie. There is a line where Joker says to another character, if this is what if you're going to basically dump all over people and abandon them, you deserve what you get. Yeah.
Wow, that's
it's
kind
pretty
of profound.
Powerful. It was good. It got 11 Academy Award nominations as of this morning, and I think they're all well deserved. I think it's got some pretty stiff competition. I think 1917 is going to sweep it, but it's they're well deserved nominations.
I'm not somebody who sees a lot of movies because they're nominated for like Academy Awards or anything. But there are some really cool movies that are up this year, and the Academy is allowed to nominate 10, and they nominated 9 this year. So there's a lot of competition.
I think it's going to be good, even though they didn't nominate any films that were directed by women or.
Okay, did you see the chick who announced it?
No,
I
didn't.
Who she
I didn't
was.
watch the official announcements.
But when they went through it, I think it was she was announcing the directors or something. She like kind of side-eyed and she's like, "Congratulations to all those men," and then pursed her lips. It was That's best.
Awesome.
Oh, so much shade in like 0.2 seconds.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Well, so sorry. Back to Warm Bodies. I totally detoured us again.
So I feel like this is how this podcast is going to go.
We haven't podcasted in a long time, and because neither one of us is really strong on content for this movie. So...
yeah, I really do not have a lot, which means we'll probably talk for 2 hours. I kind of hope we don't because it's
late-ish.
You know, it's later in the evening.
Got stuff I have to do before I go to work in the morning. So do you.
I really need to get back to my heating pad. It's so cold.
It's kind of chilly back here. I'm like, okay, I could have had another cup of coffee and put on something heavier in layers.
We did not have any really measurable snow until after the New Year, which is super unusual. I mean, we usually start getting snow on Halloween. Literally, it snows like every Halloween because it drove us all crazy as kids that you have to wear your snow gear over or under your costume. But I mean, you could literally set your calendar by, you know, it snowed on Halloween. And I mean, yeah, it snowed a little bit here and there, but I literally had green grass on my lawn for New Year's, and that is completely unheard of here. And we were just like, yay, global warming.
Yeah, it's been crazy, you know, it was like here too. 40, I mean,
45
we didn't really get winter until December.
Oh, and then it hit, man. Oh, God.
All right, so numbers for our Romeo and Juliet knockoff. It actually did surprisingly well. So it had a budget of $35 million, and it earned $117 million. So it basically tripled its earnings. Or tripled its budget.
Well, so it was released in 2013, and that was kind of around the time that we were putting out a whole bunch of movies around young adult books, which this is a trilogy young adult book.
So there's actually 4 books. There's also a novella because I looked up the author. Yeah.
Oh, good for you. I did not see that.
I'm not sure that I'm going to be motivated to read any of them, but... Not that it was bad. It's just kind of not my thing.
I almost bought the audiobook last night, but it's 8 hours. The audiobook is
That's a long 8 hours. Time.
I know. I'm like, okay, is the person a slow reader? What's going on? It's like only a 250-page book. How can it be 8 hours?
Because he reads every word slowly.
That's very true. Maybe I should be like Fear the Walking Dead, where Grace listens to everything on double speed. Then it would have only taken me 4 hours.
Sorry, I'm having a fear moment. We'll go there.
There is a Walking Dead tie-in to this movie.
Is there?
There's actually 2.
Oh, you'll go there? You'll get there?
Okay. So, our featured cast member was in a movie. Our featured cast member is Julie, who is Teresa Palmer in real life. And she was in a movie called Take Me Home Tonight. And one of the male, and I want to call them leads. I did see the movie, but I don't really remember it much. One of our leads was Folger. Luke in The Walking Dead.
Cool.
Yeah. And then the other one is when Julie tries to escape the plane. On the tarmac, the horde of zombies in the front, there was a zombie, and I did notice it the second time that I watched this, that looks like Rick from The Walking Dead. He's not dressed like a sheriff. He doesn't have the hat, but I can definitely see the resemblance. So if you go back and watch for that.
When I'm putting something on in the background that I don't have to pay tons of attention to, I will make sure to watch that scene. Well, so overall, it's gotten pretty good reviews. It's got an 81% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes. So the only place that I could find it, it's not on Netflix, it's not on Hulu. Where I found it was obviously Amazon
and I
Prime.
Own it on Amazon. Little did I know.
So you can rent it for $3.99 or you can buy it for $9.99. And I absolutely love anytime I'm buying anything on Amazon to read 1-star reviews.
So did you find some 1-star reviews?
My very, very favorite 1-star review was it inspired me. I want to go back and review everything that I bought on Amazon, on everything that I was just very meh on. I just want to review it and say,
That's funny.
Just taking the time to log in and review something and giving it 1 star and going,
That's really
I'm inspired. Funny. Thank you. Thank you, Cecilia on Amazon. And then my favorite 2-star review was, it wasn't for me.
But they still gave it 2 stars instead of 1.
Right. I'm like, what star? Like, I'm sure it's for somebody. It just wasn't for me.
That's funny.
If you have no life like I do, go read 1- and 2-star reviews of just random products and services and movies and music.
I'm a little scared.
There are snarky people like me out there who,
Oh my God. All right.
Yeah.
So speaking of watching things and not having a life, I'm not going to say the F-bomb because I don't want to have to edit, but don't F with cats on Netflix. Have you watched it?
No, but I've been stalking it on social media.
It's so disturbing. It's so disturbing. I watched the whole thing.
Did you? Okay, there is actually a Reddit
that tells
thread
you how to avoid
the times.
So for anyone who is potentially triggered, and God help us, I hope we would all be triggered by animal cruelty. There is some pretty graphic animal cruelty, and they don't show all of it, but it's disturbing. And the Reddit thread actually shows you like what times to avoid.
Yeah. So in terms that people will kind of understand, it's kind of like watching a love scene on a PG-13 movie where they show the couple kissing and then they cut away to like a breeze blowing through a window, or the fireplace or something. So what they do is they show the person putting the cat in the plastic bag and getting the hose out. I'm not even told. I've stalked this thing on social media. I have not built up the courage to watch it yet. But then they cut away to someone interviewing. So they don't actually show the animal torture because that would be horrible. But it is enough that with the Cold and Dead Inside Club of 1 or 2, I see.
3. I'm a member of that club most times.
Oh man, I really want to watch it, but you have to be in a certain headspace to watch something like that, and I'm not there.
It's pretty disturbing.
Yeah. And so what I garner from it is that it animal torture is one of those things that preludes serial killers.
Well, and
correct?
so basically it's internet sleuths who hunt down someone who starts with animal cruelty.
Yeah.
And it's a true story.
And yes.
And they're kind of like the people from who found the Golden State Killer, you know? Kind of crowdsourced. It was crazy.
I think that is so amazing that we are crowdsourcing crime solving. We do it now locally. I mean, go to any one of your local town's Facebook pages and people post, videos from their Ring cameras and people get identified all the time because of, social media sleuthing.
It's crazy.
It is. What a time to be alive.
And what a time to be undead. Back to warm bodies yet again.
Back to the podcast.
Okay, so our writer and director was a guy named Jonathan Levine. He has 8 writer credits and he has 13 director credits. And I will tell you, his most notable thing is Warm Bodies. Although, interestingly enough, he has worked with Seth Rogen a couple of times.
That doesn't surprise me because one of the stars in the movie is James Franco's little brother, Dave Franco.
I saw that, and his face totally looks like James Franco.
I think that's why I was like, yeah, Perry deserved to die.
Not a James Franco fan?
He is a great actor. I don't think he's that great of a guy. So it's kind of like wanting to watch House of Cards now, which also came out in 2013.
Because you want to watch Kevin Spacey suffer?
Right? But I'm just like, every time I see James Franco now, I'm just like, yeah, I probably shouldn't be giving you my money.
It's a fraught time
By the way,
in Hollywood.
It is. It's. I have a big dilemma about watching stuff. So Jonathan Levine,
or Levine, we're not really sure, right?
Also, well, and I'm thinking Adam Levine from or Adam.
Levine.
Was it Adam Levine?
Yeah,
from Maroon 5. Okay, so.
Oh yeah, it's Levine.
He also directed a movie called Snatched with Goldie Hawn and Amy. Oh God,
Poehler?
What is her name?
Poehler?
What's up? I don't think so.
But not to be confused with Snatched with Brad Pitt.
No, that was
Never
an
seen
excellent
it.
movie.
Amy
okay.
Schumer. Love Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer. And what's funny is I just watched that for the first time 3 nights ago. So I don't think that Warm Bodies is his most notable.
Okay, it was
movie.
The most notable to me.
Okay. I'm just saying, he got Goldie Hawn in the movie.
Let's move on to our featured cast. Teresa Palmer.
Teresa Palmer. So she's one of those girls where you're like,
face.
I'm right. And what's funny is people often mistake her for Kristen Stewart.
Oh, I can see that. I can see it. When I picture her face, I can see that.
And ironically, she is currently in a show where they have completed season 1 and there is a season 2, but it's on Chiller, and I'm not doing another paid thing. So sorry.
I can respect that.
I think it's on Chiller. But so the show that she's in right now is called A Discovery of Witches.
So it was on something that I was able to access because I too am swearing off doing more paid services.
Subscribe to
Although
everything.
I did suck it up and do Disney Plus and get it all straightened out. Thanks to the guy from Hulu, because Disney was not helpful at all. Anyway, yeah, Discovery of Witches. So those books were hugely popular probably 6-8 years ago. I just don't get it. I do not get it. I didn't like the series. I made it about two episodes into the series and was like, nah, I got more useful things to do with my time.
Okay, so Teresa Palmer, who is often mistaken for Kristen Stewart, is in Discovery of Witches, and it is described as, check out A Discovery of Witches, 2 supernatural academics, 1 juicy romance. Find out why the series is being called a brainy twilight for adults.
It's awful. I tried to read the book and I tried to watch the series. Awful, awful, awful.
Okay, I want to know what a brainy twilight for adults is, so I might actually have to watch this thing.
I would love to hear your review.
I'm going to have to freaking illegally download it because I'm not paying for another streaming service. Oh, you guys didn't hear me say that. We're going to edit that out.
Steven that out. Oh, by the way, I've gotten a couple of people sucked into MFM. Yep.
Oh, yay!
Yes.
More murderinos. Oh, there was just somebody posting on a random murderino Facebook page, and she was also from Juneau. I'm like, oh my god, sister!
Speaking of which, so I am a part of the Knitterinos Facebook page, and I've been chatting back and forth, and I asked them if there were any Beaterinos, and found a couple of Beaterinos, one of whom has a whole bunch of beads she wants to sell, so hopefully she's going to get a hold of me about that.
Time to be alive.
All right, we have made it into page 2 of my notes. We're still on our featured cast. If anybody is still with us at this point, God love you.
Oh, man, this is amazing. Okay, so Teresa Palmer is one of those people that, like I said, she seems like you've seen her before, but I went through her list and I don't know her from very much other than I Am Number 4, which was another teen lit book made into a movie. But again, she played number 6. She had what I would think is a kind of small role in the movie, and her. What's funny is her major credit, her first quote unquote first acting credit, is a movie called 237. But there is one before that called Wolf Creek, and she plays pool party people.
Not pool party person, but pool party people.
But apparently the larger role of Melody in 237 stands out for more people. Yeah, they said
that was actually her breakout role. That's what IMDb said.
Right. And so she has one of those kind of Marilyn Monroe stories where she was literally she had never acted before, apparently, except for pool party people. And she was just pulled off the street because somebody, liked her look or whatever, and cast in this movie 237, which actually kind of sounded good. I might kind of seek that one out and watch it. Her follow-up movie was The Grudge 2. I watched The Grudge 1, and that was enough for me. I don't need to see any of the more subsequent Grudges. It's kind of like the Saw movies. I saw the first one, and I was like, it's not for me. 2 stars.
But not 1 star.
But no, not 1 star. I mean, it wasn't a terrible movie. She was in Hacksaw Ridge.
Sounded pretty good.
The remake.
So it's a World War II movie.
Right, and it's a remake of one that originally starred why can't I think of his name? The Duke.
John Wayne.
John Wayne. Yes, thank you. God. So I didn't see the remake. But like I said, she is in A Discovery of Witches, which just got a season 2.
Yes, that was a disgusted sound.
It's so funny. Scoff. So one of the things that I found really interesting is her mother is very religious, and Teresa Palmer was named after Mother Teresa. Yeah. I kind of view her as a perpetual teenager, I think, because of this movie and movies like I Am Number 4. And apparently she's married with 3 kids.
Funny.
So one is her biological child and 2 are stepchildren, but she's been married since like 2013, 2014, depending on which webpage you look at. And yeah, wow. She's like only 6 years younger than me, and I don't know. I keep seeing her as a 17-year-old. So when she was in the remake for Point Break, and this is one of the reasons why I envy actors, other than the fact that they get paid millions of dollars to do what they do, is they get to learn cool things like sword fighting and riding a Ducati motorcycle. So those are the 2 skills she learned for the movie Point Break.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm super envious of that kind of lifestyle. But she also exercised for 3 months for 4 hours a day, 6 days a week. Not envious of that. Did you see Ricky Gervais's Golden Globes?
No, but I heard it was great.
Oh, man. Wow. I love that guy. Like,
I heard he was pretty crushing to everyone. Yeah, you totally didn't have to be equal opportunity offender.
I was going to say, so because one of the reasons I get along with everybody. I'm super open-minded. I have my own opinions about things, but I can get along with people who have completely polar opposite views. And I have some Facebook friends who may or may not be ex-boyfriends or fans of biters. Not both at the same time, because that would be weird. But they have very opposite views of mine, and everybody enjoyed his Golden Globes performance, and it was just because he burned everyone. And one of the things that he said is actors really aren't paid to act anymore. They get paid to work out 6 hours a day and bulk up for roles and look good in spandex tights and capes and things like that. So, he's like, so basically they're not relatable at all, and we shouldn't listen to their opinions about anything because they're not real people. I was
going to say, I don't know that I really buy that, but I imagine it was funny in the context.
Don't troll them on Twitter. They're still humans. Be nice. They have feelings too. But it was just one of those things where I'm like, it's not so much about the acting anymore. It's more of looking and being the part. So... But none of the Marvel movies were nominated for Best Picture, so
right.
I guess we still have that. Martin Scorsese. So that's Teresa Palmer. There's not a whole lot out there about her. She just kind of seems like she does her acting thing and is a wife and mother.
Does she have much social media? Did you have a chance to check that?
I did not check that, no. Yeah. I was so fascinated by her being just her, and actually the girl that plays Nora. I'm fascinated because she's also one of those people that I'm like, I know her from something. And no, I don't know her from anything. She just seems like somebody that I know from something.
Face.
And
yeah,
she does. And so Teresa Palmer is apparently the brainier, more adult Kristen Stewart.
Well, 2 things I want to say about Teresa Palmer, and then we'll move on. I liked what she said about the movie. She said that the core of the story for her was that love breathes life back into people, that human connection saves us. And I've been feeling kind of hokey and feeling kind of like, I'm in a job where I'm able to do good in the world again. So that really spoke to me.
Yeah, no, don't try to connect with me. I'm cold inside. I'm a
have
bony.
turned into a hugger. Like I can't tell you how many of my patients get hugs when they leave. Because seriously, some of them just need some love. The healthcare is secondary, and they get that too, but what they really need is love. I totally sound like John Lennon.
On the down low, I have totally hugged my doctor, and it is a big relief.
I had this guy the other day who was just mean and spiteful and difficult when he made his appointment. And when he came in, he's just really stressed about the state of the world. He's like worried about Australia. He's worried about going to war with Iran. He feeds homeless people. I mean, he actually is the sweetest guy. And I finally leaned over and touched his chest and said, "You have a big heart." And he started to cry.
Oh,
just needs love.
Yep.
All right. Sorry. I'm totally.
Yep. And that totally relates
right?
to this movie.
Actually, it kind of does.
If he were a zombie, his heart would have beat.
You know, I think that's exactly what happened. Okay, so that was one of the things I wanted to say about Teresa Palmer. The other thing I wanted to say was her most recent movie is a movie called Ride Like a Girl, which was released last year, and it is the story of the first woman jockey to win the Melbourne Cup. And I thought that sounded really good. I might actually seek that out. And it's got Sam Neill in it, who I loved in the piano, even though he was a bad guy. So, yeah. Other people who are way cooler than me might remember him from Jurassic Park. All right. Whisperer's Corner?
Sure.
So it is official. The housewives are getting out of Alaska. So we are going to be at Fandemic in Atlanta in October. And please, if anybody is coming, please get a hold of us because we would love to meet you. We already know we're going to meet Thomas, and I found out that Kirk is going to be there, so we definitely have to make a point of seeking out Kirk. I'm hoping Jeff will be there, too.
Happy birthday, Kirk!
I don't think he listens anymore, but happy birthday if you do listen, Kirk.
So go to Batman KM on Twitter and wish Kirk a happy birthday. Which was yesterday, I think, for us.
So, Atlanta, October. Pretty excited. Marnell picked the Jeffrey Dean Morgan fan experience. Yes, the VIP package.
Oh man, I didn't ever think I was going to say Jeffrey Dean Morgan and package on the podcast, but check that off the bucket list.
You are so funny. All right. Speaking of super fans, Thomas O'Mara sent me a thing that has the dates for Walking Dead, The Walking Dead World Beyond, and Fear the Walking Dead. So Walking Dead returns Sunday, February 23rd, and the season finale is April 12th. Walking Dead World Beyond premieres the following Sunday on April 19th, and the season finale is June 21st. And then Fear the Walking Dead premieres a week later, June 28th. So we are going to be going like gangbusters as soon as Walking Dead comes back.
Yes. So there is a kind of pandemic, like zombie virus outbreak escape room in Atlanta. And I think if we get the chance, we should do it.
Well, we also were kind of talking about going to Sonoy, and we need to decide if we're going to do that.
So I think we just need to get a whole bunch of meth and not sleep for a week.
But it has to be blue meth in a nod to Breaking Bad and season 2 of Walking Dead.
Yes.
All right, moving on. This totally tickled me, found an Eric Kane review of the movie Warm Bodies from February 2013.
Because I'm a weirdo and I search for stuff like that.
It a surprisingly clever movie. And my response was, he wrote a surprisingly positive review. He did. And what's funny is he kind of compared it to Twilight also. And I have to tell you, and I should be totally freaking embarrassed to admit this, but like him, I was a little slow on the uptake. I knew it was a Romeo and Juliet knockoff, but I totally missed that R was R until about halfway through the movie when somebody said that Julie's name was Julie, and I was like, oh, R and Julie. I know. It took me that long. I should be embarrassed.
Even the best friend was named Marcus.
And they said M could be Mercutio. Yes.
Yes. Yep.
I agree with Eric Kane that it had a great soundtrack. That scene where they're like kind of marching to Rock You Like a Hurricane, I was like, oh.
From yes. Scorpion, Guns N' Roses, Bob Dylan, like, such a good soundtrack.
So again, in Whisperer's Corner with Eric Kane, he this week yesterday I think, wrote something about the new trailer for the second half of season 10 of Walking Dead. And basically it's kind of spoilery. So potentially Negan is revealing a spy in Alpha's camp. Carol and the King have a moment. And there's a potential kiss between Rosita and Eugene. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what actually happens.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's the kiss between Michonne and the King, where
totally not what we thought it was.
Right. We all saw it in the trailer and freaked out, and then it happened, and we were like,
2 stars, not for me.
2 stars, not for me.
All right, so this is kind of from Paul Tassi's writing, but it kind of is from a bunch of different sources, because basically Scott Gimple created a firestorm online with an EW review or interview that he did recently. So Paul Tassi was griping about the fact that Walking Dead has no planned end. And he references Gimple's interview, and Gimple basically says that he and Angela Kang feel like the last issue of the comic, reads a lot like a pilot. So there's some speculation that they're going to basically use that to reboot the universe completely. Not sure how they're going to do that, seeing as Carl was alive all the way through to the end, but okay. The other thing is Gimple hinted at limited series that give us backstories of characters that have been dead on the main series for a long time.
Yes,
there's
I did
potentially going to be a bunch of miniseries and specials. And then Gimple basically refused to apologize and totally skirted around the elephant in the room, season 5 of Fear. He basically was like, oh, we had this great season 5 that totally set us up for an amazing season 6. And Paul Tassi was basically like, you mean to say that dumpster fire was a setup for another season? We went through 16 seasons of a dumpster fire that was a setup for another season?
What was that? Was it Dallas who was like,
yes,
it was all a dream?
It was Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the only explanation, it was all... It was the whole... where somebody hypothesized that this was what's her name's like fever dream when she was after she blew up the dam, Madison's fever dream, and that like we're gonna start back up, when she washes ashore from the dam.
Which, by the way, Thomas said he was going to keep us away from the Fear cast in Atlanta, and I just want to say again, it is nothing against the cast. It is not the cast. We love the cast. We think the cast is being horribly underserved by what they are being given in terms of plot and writing, and
And we know that they know it, and we're going to be polite enough to not bring it up. I'm just putting that out there. And I may have to
binge me some Dharma and Greg before we go.
You totally have to binge Dharma and Greg.
And I think the guys who are putting on Pandemic should invite the cast of Preacher. That's all I'm saying. Because I started watching season 1 again, and I was like, where did we go wrong?
Man, I still need to bite the bullet and watch the entire last season so that I can be able to either talk you off the ledge
So
or
now
jump
that I
with
have
you.
Hulu, I have it all like totally bingeable easily. So yeah, with no soundtracks that are
Yeah.
mismatched with the acting. Okay, the final thing I have in Whisperer's Corner is it has been confirmed that Christine Evangelista is returning as Sherry in Fear. Yeah, I don't know how you
Yay!
feel about that. Another actress that's going to be poorly served by ham-handed writing.
Maybe it'll get better.
Yeah, that's what we said for 16 episodes. All right.
Okay, for being cold and dead inside, I am a super optimist.
And now let's launch into our goods, bads, and uglies. You
Do you
go,
want me to go
'cause
first?
I think you probably watched this with more faithfulness than I did, quite honestly.
I really like Nicholas Hoult. Like,
I feel
really
like I
like
need
him.
to know him
And this-
better.
You know, the first thing I remember him in, besides this, was of course X-Men, and he plays Beast. X-Men First Class.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was because of him or if it was the writing, but I loved the inner monologue because it was so relatable. I mean, when he was like, stop staring, don't be creepy, you know, like it's things we all think. And he starts out the movie where he's like, God, I need to eat better and I need to get more exercise and I need to stand up straight. People don't respect me because I don't stand up tall. And, you know, he's going on in his head. And this is everything that we all do all day. It is complete self-doubt. And until I think that's probably where the movie slowed down for me is when he started speaking more because we heard less of his inner monologue. And I just found everything in his inner monologue just hilarious. And so, yeah, that was the for a movie that was only 98 minutes, like the entire first part where you hear his inner monologue, it seemed like forever, and then of course it lagged in the middle, and the end we'll get to. But yeah, I loved his inner monologue. It's all of us.
I wonder if you're right. I wonder if that's where the movie took the turn for the worse.
See, and I kind of think that I was talking about the show Daybreak on Netflix earlier, and the actor breaking the fourth wall. And for some reason, I guess it's because it's kind of like reading the book, where in a movie or show you don't normally get what the character is thinking unless they put it in some herky-jerky dialogue. And in the book, you know what the character is thinking because it's written on the page. And so when you break the fourth wall or you have an inner monologue that we can hear, it opens up the world for me. And I really, really should read more.
You probably should.
There's so many good shows. So yeah, the inner monologue was my
Well, my good was M. Rob Corddry? I think that's how you say his last name. So I remembered him being my favorite thing from the first time I watched this movie. I just thought that his character was really funny. I liked him as a zombie. I liked him when he became reanimated, when he became human again. I really thought that he brought a lot to the movie. I actually expected him to be in stuff that I knew better, and he really wasn't. But just so you know, he has been in an episode of Law & Order. He actually has 105 actor credits, and he was in Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay.
Oh man, I missed.
Oh my god, that was a really funny movie.
I saw the first one. He was also in Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
I actually went far enough back that he was in both of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in a couple of episodes of Drunk History. He's been in the reboot of Hawaii Five-O. He had a long run in Ballers, which has gotten some really good reviews. I just haven't read it or watched it. I mean,
He has a long and storied history. I feel like I should know him more than I do also. I agree, though. He had some of the best one-liners in the movie.
He was great. But he also just brought, dare I say it, some heart to the character and to the film that I really appreciated, that I really enjoyed. And his face is very expressive.
Yeah, I love his one-liners when he was like, all the zombies behind him groan, and he's like, they say F yeah, and he say F, and he has zombie fingers. And then when he told the lady she was pretty, and he's like, no, you say I'm pretty too. Oh, he was a great
he was a great
sidekick.
Character.
Yeah. I think that both he and the supporting character of Nora just like elevated the film. They interjected humor at the right times, and that's what really kept the movie going for me when it lagged, was those two. I agree.
So what was your bad?
So, if you have not read the books and you plan to, I have not, but I know the ending of the book. And spoiler in 3, 2, 1, I did not like the ending of the movie as much as I liked the ending of the book. So, in my research, I found out that one of the things that I disliked about the movie was that zombies are suddenly, like, resurrected. I preferred the storyline of the book where they didn't quite become human again, but they changed. They weren't zombies, but they weren't human. So I liked the fact that they evolved into something else, and not that they magically came back to life, because one of the 1-star reviews was that they didn't like. They were like, "Oh, come on! They were shot, they were stabbed. Like, how do you recover from that?" And I was like, "Well, I guess my explanation of them, quote unquote, recovering from their seemingly mortal wounds, if they were human, was their hearts weren't beating. So it's not like they were losing blood or, you know." So they healed slow. Their hearts beat slow enough that they healed before they exsanguinated, I guess, maybe. And we kind of saw that a little bit with R's character when his bullet wounds were healing, kind of in the shower when he was, they were kind of healing themselves as he was kind of coming back to life. But in the book, I think it was Julie who actually bit him. And so the film changes the ending of the book significantly, with Julie eventually biting R when he kisses her. The result in both of them becoming infected and becoming something new. R does not functionally resurrect, but he and Julie's eyes become gold, indicating they are now the opposite of the zombies. This preceded by the book's ruminations on the nature of humanity's darkest impulses, which is the film largely skips over. So that makes me want to read the book, because I like the idea that she bites him and they become something completely new.
And it's a whole bunch of books.
Yeah, it's but they're only 250 pages. I mean, I consider myself a slow reader because I play a movie in my head when I read. I can read quickly if I need to read for functionality, but when I'm telling a story, I'll read slower. So, but I can do a 250-page book.
I am still trying to get through Paul Rykov's book about serving in Iraq called Chasing Ghosts. It's really well written. I just am struggling with it.
Why are you doing? That's like watching the news right now. I even
Because I
stopped
love
watching the
Paul
news.
Rykoff on Angry Americans. He's just so great. Which, by the way, I sent my friend Todd a bottle of Fort Hamilton whiskey based on the Angry Americans recommendation, and he said it was fabulous. Yeah.
Woo.
Unlike some people I know, he actually opens up his gifts all the way.
Oh, that's funny.
All right.
We won't get into that. What was your bad?
My bad was John Malkovich. I just kind of feel like he has become a one-trick pony. He's always that growly, intense, authoritarian guy. I remember him from the days of Dangerous Liaisons, and he was so promising, and now he just doesn't do anything for me.
So what specifically movies are you thinking of John Malkovich
I can't even
in?
point to what movies I'm thinking of John Malkovich in. I just am like,
okay.
Nah.
So I'm going to give you a recommendation that will slowly reintegrate you into John Malkovich being an awesome character actor. The movie Red with Bruce Willis.
No, really
John
seriously,
Malkovich.
are you kidding me?
Oh, it's so funny because he plays that character, but he crazy plays it. You know, it's so funny. It is so funny. And then, did you ever watch Being John Malkovich?
And it was all right. I didn't get it.
It was terrible.
I didn't get
it
at all. I felt really stupid and not hip because I didn't get it. Kind of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We rented it, we made it halfway through it, and then the rental expired, and I'm not paying for it again. Really?
Really? I so wanted to see that, and because I watch a ton of other stuff, I just don't have the time.
It has gotten rave reviews. My friend Mike, who is like the king of the movie review and has watched everything, said it was great. I will not pay for it again. I might try it again when it becomes available on one of the multiple streaming services I already pay for.
You know me. I am a Tarantino
I'm hit
fan,
or miss with Tarantino.
That's another one where I'm super conflicted because I don't know if he's a nice guy in real
life.
life.
I think he's kind of a creeper, but
yeah, I know. So I might be able to change your mind on John Malkovich with what I just found. He is going to be in a 10-episode series of a show called Space Force.
Oh,
God. You heard that right. Space Force. The people tasked with creating the 6th branch of the armed services. Space Force.
I have nothing to say.
You know you
I
want
have
to.
Nothing to say. I'm thinking that's 8 hours of my life I'm not going to get back.
Oh, no, it's only 30 minutes, so it's only 4 hours of your life you're not going to get back. Oh, man, but I do want to see him in the new
another
Pope.
sacrilege, I, couldn't even get into The Mandalorian. I know, right? Total sacrilege. I'm going to hell.
I'm calling the police. Oh, come on, with Baby Yoda?
I'll try again.
Oh. So this is one of those times, everybody, where I'm like, one of us was adopted.
All right, do you have an ugly? Okay.
I do have an ugly.
Good ugly or bad ugly? You're going to tell me it's both.
I would actually consider this a bad ugly because it kind of annoyed me. I did. I really liked this movie. There was a few spots. One of the glaring obvious, when R takes Julie from the pharmacy, one, I'm like, why doesn't she just run away? But at some point in the movie, when we see Perry's dad turn, we realize that the zombies don't really have to shamble, that they can really run. I don't think they're distance runners. I think they're sprinters, but I'm pretty sure she could have gotten away. But that wasn't actually my bad. My bad was you've been taught since the outbreak or since the collapse of society, since the zombie outbreak, that, you know, these are just mindless zombies and they're going to eat your brain. One of them starts to talk to you. I mean, yeah, he's only saying like one word at a time and it's very herky-jerky, but he's not eating your brains and he's saying actual words, which means he's not a zombie. And you don't freak out and like start in being like the Inquisitor. Like, that would be my first reaction, is being like, you can talk? She like just sort of shut down. You know, he smears her with the goo and she cries and he takes her with him and she's like in the plane and she's cowering and she's like, I get it. She doesn't want to freak out with the other zombies around. But when they're in the plane and they're alone together, their first night, she's not like, what the hell? You can talk? She's still kind of cowering in the corner and freaking out. And I don't feel that that's a genuine reaction. I imagine everyone's reaction would be like, how are you saying words? You're a corpse, you know? I would be way more. She was just really nonplussed about his like being able to formulate words. So that was my bad ugly. Is I was just it took her like a day and a half to really be like, what are you? So that was my bad ugly. What was your
So my
ugly?
bad ugly was non-existent. It was a good ugly. And which I think is funny because, again, I rated it lower than you did. But I actually really liked the pool scene, and I liked the symbolism of our bleeding. And I just thought, you know, okay, hurting and bleeding, that's what makes us human. And that kind of gets me viscerally. I like that. Yeah.
It does.
So it was a small thing, but that was my good ugly.
So, of course, that scene was reflective of the Shakespearean Romeo and Juliet tale of that they both die together. And, of course, Hollywood happy endings, you know, they both live
because
together.
Really, Romeo and Juliet doesn't have a happy ending. Just a spoiler alert, you know,
No.
it was written when? In the 1500s, 1600s? I can't remember exactly when Shakespeare lived. But yeah, spoiler alert, not a happy ending.
No, and like worse than you would think, because like it's like, okay, they die together. Well, no, they don't actually die together. One of them pretends to die, and then the other one kills themselves, and then that person's like, oh, now I have to kill myself. Like, it's not even that, just like they jump off a building together. It's like die, die. 1 star, not for me.
1 star. All right, I've only got a few things in Rotting Potpourri, and it's mostly trivia about the movie. So it was filmed in Montreal in September of 2011, and the airport scenes were actually filmed at the Montreal Mirabel International Airport. Right?
Say that 5 times fast.
So what was interesting to me was the airport scenes really made me think of fear and made me think of all of the stuff around that crashed airplane that Nick found. But it also made me think of the first episode of American Gods. And a friend of mine actually said, you know, airports are holding places. You know, they're places that are places of limbo. And I just thought that was super interesting. It made me think of that.
So the movie that this actually made me think of, and I'm sure you have not watched it because it's kind of a B horror film. And it's a B horror film, and then it's also a Stephen King novel. Cell. Not The Cell with Jennifer Lopez. Just
I kind of
Cell.
vaguely remember that, but I don't remember it super well.
Okay, so it was released in 2016, and it stars John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson. So it's got that going for it. But, so a signal goes out over the cell phones worldwide, turning everyone into these crazed zombies. And they have a hive mind, so it's kind of like when one sees you, like all of them know where you are. And only people who were not like engaging with their phones at the time or didn't have phones are people that didn't get turned into these zombie-like creatures. But you can still become one because the quote-unquote cell signal is still active and it's still going out. But the movie it's basically kind of a metaphor for how we all are zombies now because we're all just staring at our cell phones.
It's totally true. We're out at dinner sometimes and I'm like, oh my God, we're the people that other people hate because we're both not talking to each other and staring at our screens.
Okay, but we're reading stuff to each other and showing each other stuff on our screens. So I don't feel too bad. And plus, we're all doing it. So none of us are paying attention to each other. But if you want to see kind of the more horror genre of Warm Bodies, I recommend The Cell. Other than it's kind of a B-grade horror movie.
The Stephen King thing, not the Jennifer Lopez thing. Okay.
Right. No Jennifer Lopez, no Vincent D'Onofrio. You want John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson. But it also starts out in an airport. And so there's a lot of weird parallels to the movie Cell and the movie Warm Bodies. But one's a Romeo and Juliet love story, and the other one is a horror story with a Stephen King ending.
But other than that, they're totally alike.
They are, because I think that they're both metaphors of how we're all kind of zombies already. We're all already stumbling through life, and we can't make a connection.
I'm leading you back to metaphors. If you want a metaphor, Joker. Because let me tell you, the way that we treat people who are considered throwaway people, yeah, we deserve what we get.
Okay, so I cannot think of the movie, but it starred Michael Douglas, and it's the one where he's the... Yes! Is Joker
I totally
like
need
falling
to
down?
Watch Falling Down because I've never seen it, but my guess is it probably is.
Okay. I want to see it more. I'm not a big Joaquin Phoenix
I'm hit or miss with him, but I'm going to go back and watch the Johnny Cash movie now that I'm totally into the origins of country music.
I love Reese Witherspoon.
Anyway. Back to Cell, the Stephen King Cell, and back to Warm Bodies.
Right. So, like I said, if you have a couple of hours and you're curious, it's Stephen King. Like, yeah, there is actually a tie-in. Of course, most of all, if not all, Stephen King novels tie into each other in some way. It takes place in the same universe. And this is one of them. You can Google it, and find all the tie-ins later once you watch it. But yeah, because I'm a horror fan.
Well, what else do you have about Warm Bodies?
I loved the little twist that eating the brains of the living gives you their memories. Which is kind of a nod
to iZombie. Although I don't know if iZombie was out before Warm Bodies was out, but it's kind of the same world.
I was going to say, I feel like maybe the comic book iZombie was out before the show. But yeah, I love the fact that zombies, because I've been curious about this in The Walking Dead, in that, like, do zombies go into hibernation? Do they sleep? when we went into Atlanta in season one, episode 1, you know, there was the zombies that kind of were on the bus, and they seemed kind of like they were sleeping. Maybe they were just at rest or hibernating, but now we only see zombies when they're active. They're in hordes, they're buried waist deep in the mud and clawing for the nearest heartbeat, you know. So they explain in Warm Bodies that zombies don't sleep, they don't dream, and the closest thing they have to that is eating the brains of humans and gaining their memories. And that's how they feel. And I just thought that was interesting that, you know, that their hunger was less for food and brains and blood and guts and everything, and it was more, they were hungering for feeling more than anything.
Connection. So I thought this was an interesting little tidbit. The performers trained with acrobats from Cirque du Soleil to kind of learn how to move their bodies like zombies. So they kind of had their own version of zombie school, just like our zombies from Walking Dead. Cirque du Soleil. Cool. No slouches there.
Wow. No. Have you ever seen a Cirque du Soleil?
No. God, you know, it's all I can do to get the housewives out of Alaska to see a pandemic.
I went to Zoomanity in Vegas, and I loved it. Well, you know,
my goal is to travel more over the next year, so...
It's so expensive. Tell the folks how much it is to get out of Anchorage.
So for us to fly from Anchorage to Atlanta and back, if we buy cheap tickets well in advance, it's going to be $800 round trip.
The better part of a grand.
And it's going to be about 16 hours of travel if we do it all in one day. But I think we're going to meet in Seattle. And then fly, so we'll fly from Alaska to Seattle in one day. We will fly from Seattle to Atlanta the following day.
So at least 24 hours of travel on each end, and the better part of a grand just to get out of Alaska. This is why the housewives don't get out much. Well, I think
honestly, since we are meeting up, going down, we'll fly to Seattle individually and meet up there. But I think, honestly, I'm going to do the 16-hour grind from Atlanta back to Anchorage in one day.
Yeah, because it ends on Sunday.
I'm thinking we'll travel the following day.
We'll probably leave it on a Monday. Yep. Oh, man. The things I do for this podcast.
Please, you're doing it so you can meet JDM. You're doing it because we both need to get out of Alaska and do something.
And you did buy the package.
I bought the VIP package for us because I'm taking you because I love you.
All right. You're amazing. And this is how I know that one is adopted.
Because I'll pay for you to go to Atlanta. I'm still making you buy your own plane ticket.
Oh, man. Yeah. So your Good Ugly was Marcus. I loved Nora.
Mentioned her
and
a
of
few
course
times.
And it mirrors Romeo and Juliet because Nora was a nurse in the movie and Nora was the wet nursemaid to Juliet
better than I am. It's been way
Shakespeare.
Too long since I have watched Romeo and Juliet, the Olivia de Havilland version, right? No, not Olivia. Olivia Hussey.
Okay, so I have to admit that I really have only watched the Claire Danes, Leonardo DiCaprio one.
Wow. Oh, that was crap, man.
It was terrible. No, you know what? I also watched Shakespeare in Love. So I got some of the
Okay. The 1968 version with Olivia Hussey and Leonard Whiting, Whiting, that is the one you want to watch. It's beautiful, it's classic. It has Michael York in it. a young Michael York. Yeah, you got to watch that one.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. But I related to Nora a lot. And she had a lot of really good one-liners. And I just, when she was holding the gun to John Malkovich's head and she's like, no, I will totally shoot you. I'm like, I feel you. And then in the scene when she's like, I have some makeup that I was saving for a special occasion that's obviously not going to happen. You know me and makeup. I mean, who introduced you to the cult of Sephora?
And I am totally a member. Cult.
Yep. How much does your foundation cost?
Over $60 a bottle. It's all your fault.
It is. Oh man, it's Giorgio Armani foundation, and actually, you got me addicted to that because I was using another Sephora brand.
Feel like silk? It feels like silk.
It does.
I think I got my medical assistant hooked on that cannabis-infused oil face oil. Yeah.
Oil. Yes, the serum. Yeah. I love
Welcome
that
to Dianne and Marnell's movie and makeup review.
Well, I did turn 40 almost exactly a month ago, so, I mean, I need a good moisturizing routine, especially because it's 5 degrees outside.
All right, let's wrap this sucker up.
Yeah. All right.
So Nicholas Hoult said that he used Edward Scissorhands as his inspiration for this character.
I see it. Now that you say it.
And the only other thing that I had in my notes was the names of the other books by... What is his name again? Now I have to go all the way back to my first page of notes. Okay, Isaac Marion is the author. Warm Bodies is the first. There's one called The Burning World. There's one called The New Hunger that's a novella. And there's one called The Living.
I think I might read at least the first one. And I've really been eyeing audiobook. So I used to be able to put my headphones on at work and spend 8 hours just, being a pencil pusher for the government. And now, people interrupt me to do things all day. It's like if you get good at something, they just ask you to do more. It's awful.
So don't be good. That's the...
Right? Do the bare minimum. Oh,
all right,
man.
What else you got about Warm Bodies? Because we're like an hour and a half in, and we're probably killing the people who are listening to us, if anybody's still there. Spooky Chef.
I don't have anything else. Do you have any suggestions on what we should podcast next? Besides Preacher.
Yeah, we totally need to do Preacher. I think we should do the zombie movie. I need to figure out what it's called. The zombie World War II Inglourious Bastards meets Walking Dead.
That's right.
I think I streamed it on Amazon.
I think I streamed it on Netflix.
Overlord.
Yes. Yeah, that was surprisingly good.
So I think we should do Overlord.
Yeah.
Because I would watch that again.
Definitely. We're doing that. And then when Zombieland 2 releases on DVD, streaming, whatever, we need to get together again with Diana and Steve because that was super fun.
It was a great movie and it would be super fun to talk with them about it.
If you have not listened to the crossover Aim for the Head Biters podcast, you need to seek that out and listen. Because it's like 2 hours plus of absolute hilarity. I mean, it's really difficult to do a podcast with 3 people. When you have 4 people, it's actually better than 3.
By the way, I just want to say, Diana, I'm sorry about your Patriots, even though I'm not a big fan. Sorry about the Pats. Apparently they had a rough week in the football.
Oh, sports ball. What's funny is I actually looked up stuff that happened in 2013 when we were talking about warm bodies. Just because I was like, wow, 2013, that was like forever ago. 7 years. So the Ravens won the Super Bowl, but that was the Super Bowl that the power went out for like more than a half an hour. So it was just chaos. That sucked me in just because it was just such a weird occurrence that, that's really never happened before. And then also that was the year that Nelson Mandela died. If you're from this reality, if you are from the reality that includes the Mandela effect, which I am from, Nelson Mandela died in the 80s. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up the Mandela effect because I am a victim of it.
All right. I don't know what I'm
talking
about? I'm going
to
have to look it up.
So the Mandela effect is one of those things where enormous amount of the population believes something that didn't happen. And there's a movie where people think that Shaq was a genie called Shazam, I think. And it was actually he was Kazam. There's just, it's like you're from a slightly alternate reality. And I am from the reality where Mandela died in the 80s. When Mandela died in 2013, I'm like, no, he's been dead for years. Like, what are you guys talking about? Look at the Mandela effect. It's really interesting.
I will.
You are going to fall down a rabbit hole.
I'm probably not going to fall down that rabbit hole tonight, though, because I'm pretty dang tired.
Okay, so I'm going to text you a whole bunch of articles about the Mandela effect now. You're going to be falling asleep,
ding,
and it's going to be like, baby shark,
which, by the way, our god dog, our great nephew dog, loves his baby shark toy.
He does, and I can't imagine what that is doing for his parents' sanity.
I think it's okay. And by the way, I have to say another rabbit hole, but if you have a dog, I highly recommend getting a Babble Ball.
Is that the baby shark Babble?
The Babble Ball flashes lights and says all sorts of things and plays music, and the dogs are obsessed with it. Problem is, the Babble Ball comes in 2 sizes, large and small. I made the mistake of getting the large one, not realizing that that there were 2 sizes and that the small dogs can't really get their mouths around it. So we have 3 more Babble Balls coming.
Yeah, but are you concerned that the big dogs will swallow the smaller?
They play with smaller balls all the time. It's fine. So my favorite thing is that the Babble Ball screams, "No!
Oh man, if I could only program my dog's toys to
So I'm wondering
things.
if Bandit or Phoenix would appreciate a Babble Ball.
So Bandit, my husky, is too good to do tricks. He's like a cat. He does not do tricks. He does not fetch a ball for you.
So Dexter,
don't
our
even ask
husky
him to be
from
bothered.
Barrow loves the Babble Ball.
The lab goes crazy for anything that moves.
So will you hate me if I send her a Babble Ball? Because I think there's like 4 households on my list that need Babble Balls.
And she's not a chewer, so we have
so it's like this
Blinky
big
Ball.
hard thing that has batteries and lights and noise in it. So yeah.
Oh, you can't. Okay, so we have this toy that's actually for a toddler, and it has a little gyroscope in it, so it turns randomly and goes in all different places. But she can actually swing it, and I'm really, really afraid for my 80-inch TV, so she's not allowed to play with it ever. So as long as she can't swing a heavy object into a screen, I'm okay.
I'm not going to tell you that it's something that's going to be totally safe.
Maybe it'll be an outside toy, because I'm pretty sure my windows in my house will be cheaper to replace than TV. Actually, TVs are super cheap at Costco.
There you go.
Yeah. But still, I don't want to live without my TV for like an hour to get to Instacart it from Costco. Oh God, could you imagine?
Yes.
That's funny. I love Instacart.
I still haven't done it.
Oh, can you get it where you are? Oh, those poor Instacart shoppers.
All right. It's almost 9 o'clock.
All right.
We got on the phone a little after 7. It's time for us to wrap it up.
Yep. So,
which you predicted
someday
that
we'll
we
get to
would be
Preacher
light on content, therefore we would go long. You were exactly right.
Exactly, because we haven't talked.
I know,
in
and
forever.
I'm really sorry, kind of, that we went down all these rabbit holes with all of you tonight, but we thought you might want to know what else was going on.
Yeah. It's fun to listen to other people babble sometimes.
No,
we are the fun noise in the background. All right. So next time, Overlord. Okay.
All right.
Cool. Until then, though, just remember.
Take it.
One
dead day at a time. Not bad.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye.